We don't need any big intros. We don't need any graphics. We don't need nothing. Danielle Hunter is a member of the Houston Texans. The breaking news coming down moments ago. A variety of sources. I don't know who the first one was. I just know that Danielle Hunter is going to play defensive end for the Houston Texans. He is going to be wreaking havoc for this team opposite Will Anderson after an extremely quiet day in free agency in day one that ended with some solid players showing up. Nick Caserio woke up this morning, made a trade, got the running back that most of us wanted him to go and get, and then just kind of watched and kind of paid attention as the day went on, as the various teams checked in on Danielle Hunter. Nick Caserio started doing his checking on Danielle Hunter and ultimately comes to terms on a 2-year deal that pays Danielle Hunter a max value of $51 million, and the 4-time Pro Bowler who led the league in tackles for a loss last season, who had 16 and a half sacks, is now on the Houston Texans and will line up opposite Will Anderson, Malik Collins in the middle, Danico Autry as defensive tackle or depth guy, whatever you want to do. This defense is silly right now. The linebacking group got better because Azeez Al-Shire is fantastic and better than Blake Cashman. The safety's got to stay healthy. You need a little luck out of Jeff Okudah at that cornerback spot, but he don't have to cover that long if Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are meeting at the quarterback and having a sack lunch every Sunday afternoon. My goodness, what a job by Nick Caserio. He went from executive of the year being robbed of it to people wanting him fired yesterday to now he's back. He's going to get his executive of the year trophy next year. He's going to go back for that executive of the year trophy. What a move. Aaron Wilson talked about this earlier today. KPRC's Aaron Wilson about how this was a thing. This is a conversation. Nothing's imminent, anything like that. Whew, my goodness. Did the Texans knock this one out of the park? Look at Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley responding to Titus Howard. Titus Howard, our D-line is crazy. Derek Stingley, bro, that's a fact. And then here's Adam Schefter, the 2-year, $49 million deal, including $48 million guaranteed, a max value of $51 million is the deal there for Danielle Hunter. And here's what's to like about the football player, Danielle Hunter. Pass rush monster, helps you in the run game as well. As I mentioned, he was the tackles for a loss leader last year for the NFL with 23. Add in the 16 and a half sacks. Now, obviously, some sacks count as tackles for a loss, but what a signing by the Texans. He's going to play end opposite Will Anderson. You figure out the pieces around them. Danico Autry is a really nice player that can jump in there and help out with depth. Wow. The Texans just absolutely smashing free agency 48 hours into this thing, 36 hours into this thing, I guess is really how it works, man. It just, woo. And Danielle Hunter, an H-Town guy, went to Morton Ranch. Oh, man. If you guys want to get in, there is to get in on the video or the audio. If you want to talk about it, I'll pin it to the top. We'll get to some of these comments as well. Super chats go to the front of the line. Wow. I honestly didn't see this coming. I felt like maybe they'd spread the money around a little bit more to a couple of different positions, maybe get a couple of more depth pieces for the defensive line, maybe some safety help, maybe another corner. But now spending this money, it's big money. He's worth every penny, man. He is worth every penny. This guy is a stud. 16 and a half sacks, 5th in the NFL last year, and second in the NFC last year. No, I take that back. Tops in the NFC last year. Top 4 guys were all AFC guys, and then he was the top NFC guy. And I mentioned the tackles for a loss, tied for the league lead in tackles for a loss with Max Crosby. Just an incredible signing, and a flip-flop from Jonathan Greenard in Minnesota, and then Danielle Hunter comes down to Houston. A nice little flip-flop. Now, obviously, Danielle Hunter costs a little bit more. He's got a longer history of success. But this guy is, as I mentioned, multi-time Pro Bowler. He's an all-pro second-teamer in 2018. He was the comeback player of the year, 12th in voting in 2022. He's defensive player of the year, 5th in voting in 2019. And he was a Pro Bowler 4 times, including the past 2 seasons that he's played with Minnesota. He's going to be 30 years old this year. And the contract, it lines up in a perfect time. It lines up in a perfect amount of money and commitment to where you still go out there and you can still, you can still extend Nico Collins if you want to. You can still, this doesn't affect CJ Stroud in the future. This doesn't affect Will Anderson in the future. This doesn't affect Derek Stingley's contract in the future. Like, the commitment being just 2 years with basically a fully guaranteed contract, well, that's fine. If the guy goes in here and rips off 30 sacks in 2 years, you bid him farewell, or you work on an extension with him. Like, man, just a coup from the Texans, who have now upgraded at defensive end opposite Will Anderson. They've upgraded at key backup defensive end with Danico Autry. They've upgraded at linebacker. Yeah, cornerback is a little shaky. Okuda's not as proven as Steven Nelson, but they got a lot younger there. They upgraded at running back with Joe Mixon coming in. This is just a beastly offseason for the Texans. They haven't even had the draft yet. Low-key, when Armstead gets released tomorrow, he will come to us on a vet minimum and still get his $20 million like Russ Wilson, according to Pat Storm. Well, there's going to be some dead money. I'm sure he gets some of that money as well. And then, look, if you go at Armstead too, nightmares for opposing offenses. Shut it down. That's the best D-line in football. That's Will Anderson, Malik Collins, Eric Armstead, Danielle Hunter, Danico Autry as a backup. That's the best D-line in football. How do you stop them? How do you stop them? Low key. I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Super chats go to the front of the line. How much cap left? Not sure just yet. I got to imagine this is pretty close to the last move that they're going to make from a big move perspective. This is a big commitment. It's $24 million onto the cap. I guess you could spread it out and put it into the second year of the deal, however you want to. But, man, so your starting defense for the Texans roughly right now is Will Anderson, Malik Collins, let's just call it Danico Autry, a defensive tackle right now, and Danielle Hunter. 2 linebackers are Azeez Al-Shire and Christian Harris. Your corners are Derek Stingley, Jeff Okudah, Desmond King at the nickel / slot. And your safeties are Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward. Come on. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome right there. Hayden Courts with the super chat. Is there a benefit to these short-term contracts I'm not seeing? Well, this one wraps up when you need to go pay some of your own guys. When you need to pay some of your own guys, when you need to pay Derek Stingley, or think about Derek Stingley or Nico Collins' contract starts hitting big money, or Tank Dell or Will Anderson. And then obviously if you start getting deeper and deeper into these contracts, eventually it overlaps with when CJ Stroud's going to make money. That's a little bit further down the road, but this doesn't keep you from then bringing him back at the conclusion of the 2 years and, maneuvering the money so that it makes a lot more sense. I'll also tell you this, the next 2 years, you're squared away at defensive end for the next 2 years. Your top 3 defensive ends are Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter and Danico Autry, they're not going anywhere. And that is a solid is probably an understatement. That is a sweet 1, 2, 3 at the defensive end spot. Defensive tackle, you got to kind of try to figure that thing out a little bit, but that is a sweet 1, 2, 3 at defensive end. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and Danico Autry. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you're squared away for the next 2. You can worry about two seasons in the future when you get there, but you're squared away at defensive end. Jason Delgado, where does our D-line rank now in the NFL? Top 3 or 4? It's got to be up there, man. It's got to be way up there. San Fran's awesome. They're probably one of the best. Philadelphia usually has a bunch of guys, so they're really close to the top. But, Will Anderson takes a jump. Danielle Hunter's still a monster. Malik Collins is a really solid player at the defensive tackle spot. Danico Autry as a backup / defensive tackle. It starts to get way up there in the rankings, man, when you start thinking about it. Way up there in the rankings. Ashton's kind of saying what we're all thinking. I'm so freaking pumped. What an insane pickup. I just saw where the Colts were with him. Yeah, look, you steal away from other teams in the AFC that might try to go get him. You steal away. Yeah. Young Costa. Proof that Caserio is robbed of Executive of the Year. He was robbed last year. He's coming for the damn title next year. He wants Executive of the Year next year. Man. Danielle Hunter with a big contract signing for the Texans. He's going to play defensive end opposite the first-round pick, number 3 overall last year in Will Anderson. All right, so the Steelers just traded Deontay Johnson. So your Texans offseason, most notable moves so far. Joe Mixon's your new running back. Danielle Hunter's your new starting defensive end. Danico Autry's your new super sub along the defensive line. Azeez Al-Shire is your new linebacker. Jeff Okuda's your new corner. Tommy Townsend's your new punter. And then you filled in with a couple of depth and special teams pieces to go around that. That's a really good offseason. 24 hours ago, I don't know that many of us were happy with Nick Caserio. And as Brandon says here, we are sorry, Nick. I owe him an apology. I didn't know he was going to go. I didn't know he was going to go rope-a-dope on free agency, but that's what he did. He did the old, he covered up, he took the shots, and the next thing you know, pop, 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 pop. He's knocking out the rest of the NFL, man. So Brian Herrera saying that Ian Rappaport's reporting he had better offers. Let's go take a look at what Ian's saying on the Twitter machine. News broke in the middle of a segment for Rappaport. I'm not going to play the NFL Network stuff. They'll get my video taken down. But man, this is what the kids say when they say let Nick cook. This is exactly what they're talking about, man. Let Nick Caserio get in there. And he did it again. Look, day 2 was way better. Day 2 was way better last year than it was day 1. And he did it again this year. Day 2 was way better than day 1. Day 1 was like, okay, all right, cool. Oh, that's nice. No, sure. Oh, Azeez Al-Shire? Yeah, that's nice. Okay, all right. Oh, new punters? Yeah, okay, all right, whatever. It's the punter, all right. Oh, Danico Autry's nice. Okay, all right, right. Hey, Joe Mixon, boom. Gets the day started with the Joe Mixon trade. That's a 7th-round pick going to the Bengals. Bring him in. That's your new starting running back. And then finishes the day here with Danielle Hunter. Ooh. Day 2, always going to be the best day for Texans free agency under Nick Caserio, it seems. Day 1, forget day 1. The sequel's better with Nick Caserio. Day 2. Chris Witzke, do you think he's better than Greenard? Absolutely. Absolutely, he's better than Greenard. He is indeed better than Jonathan Greenard. He's more consistent than Greenard, and his ceiling, you see what he did last year, ceiling's higher than Greenard. Absolutely. Jason, are we going to see another Cody and Landry? I don't know. Maybe. I'll get him in here if he wants to get in here. Nick, day 2, Caserio. Yep. Nick, day 2, Caserio. Ashton Cook, I think Townsend is low-key a huge signing. Look, he turns back into an all-pro at the punter spot. He's an all-pro in 2022. He turns back into an all-pro, and He absolutely is a big time signing. Just be as good as Cameron Johnston last year or better, and he's in a good spot. I talked to a buddy of mine who's a Chiefs fan today, and he's like, "Look, I know you said the stats are a little bit better for Johnston." He goes, "But Townsend's a beast, and you're gonna love him." And I'm like, "Okay." Okay. Yeah. Mike asking the important questions. Everyone still want Nick Caserio fired, or has everyone calmed down by now? Yeah. Most people have calmed down. I mean, again, I'll say it again. Executive of the year this offseason to after day one of free agency, people want him fired to now I'm coming for my executive of the year trophy again. Again. If you guys see anything sweet that pops up on social media, let me know there. So I'm paying attention to this and trying to do 15 things at once here. Trying to get a little multi-screen action going on. Man, this is fun, isn't it? This is fun, isn't it? Lou G with the super chat. Lou, thank you. I made the comment Nick was shopping at the Dollar Tree and on Landry last night. I said you can find good deals there. I guess you were right. Yeah. Look, you can find some nice stuff at the Dollar Tree. I don't know if you can find Danielle Hunters at the Dollar Tree, but if you get a couple of things at the Dollar Tree, you stop by, I don't know, Whole Foods and get an organic, grass-raised T-bone steak, you can make yourself a nice little meal, even if you shopped with some of those things over there at the Dollar Tree. Lou G, I appreciate the super chat. That is very, very generous of you. Johnny wants to jump in here. Johnny, you were on the live earlier. We didn't have this news to talk about, but this one's fun. We had to jump back in live. What you got for me?
Oh, I'm pumped. I'm pumped, man. Danielle Hunter basically traded Danielle Hunter for Jonathan Greenard.
Pretty much.
That's essentially what we did.
Basically Greenard and like $6 million for Hunter.
Yeah, I'm okay with the money. With the money. Hunter's a little bit older. The one thing I will say that I'm most excited about, Danielle Hunter has played. He played the last 2 seasons. He played all 17 games.
Yep.
He had a little spell between 2020 and 2021 where he was injured. But throughout his career, he's been durable. And that's one thing that I think we all kind of felt like Jonathan Greenard just couldn't stay healthy. Now you get a guy that I feel like is a lot more durable than Jonathan Greenard was and Danielle Hunter. And I'm pumped, man. I'm excited. I think this is that one big splash that Nick Caserio needed to make. I feel like Texans fans are kind of rejoicing in this. I'll go back to your boy Landry. Has said it's not done the first day of free agency. It's not done. Second day, we get Joe Mixon. We get Danielle Hunter. I'm back, man. I'm pumped. I'm loving it.
It's so funny. I had somebody in one of the comments on one of the videos say after the first day, I'm canceling my season tickets, or I was going to buy season tickets. Now I'm not buying them. And I wonder what they think right now. I wonder if they're going to hope they didn't spend their season ticket money.
They're going to want to reconsider that one.
Yeah, I hope they didn't spend their season ticket money.
For sure. This was a great sign, man. I love the 2-year part of it too, because you're not invested so much to where, like you were talking about earlier, we're going to run into a point to where we're going to have to pay CJ. We're going to have to pay Nico next year. Presumably he has a good season. I'm hoping Nico Collins has a good season. So this is kind of a contract that it's in a good place for the Texans to where they still have some way to move around from, even if, like, say Hunter doesn't have a great season, they still have a way to kind of move out of it. And now, what was the guaranteed money?
So it's $48 million guaranteed. So
okay,
the max.
So he's locked in.
Yeah, so he's locked in. They're not any maneuverability really. I mean, but look, you talked about it. He's consistent. He stays healthy with the exception of 2020, 2021, where he was banged up a little bit. I mean, basically plays every game every year, just looking through his numbers. missed 2, didn't miss any, missed a season, missed 10, and then 17. So
he's had double-digit sacks for like 3 or 4 seasons, I think.
So of the full seasons that he has played, only twice has he not had double-digit sacks. He has had 12.5, 14.5, 14.5, 10.5, and 16.5.
Sign me up, bro. Like, hell yes. This was it. Like, this was the one. If you weren't going to get Saquon, this was the one.
I don't care about Saquon Barkley anymore. You're not losing any shutouts. Nope. You can't lose a shutout.
Nope. I'm done. I'm done with it now. Like, we got Saquon. The division's ours as far as I'm concerned. I know the Jags are making a lot of moves, but I don't think the Jags they don't scare me enough. The Ravens are what scare me more than anybody else in the AFC, outside of the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I think, this was a hell of a signing, man. Not something I was expecting at all. But tip of the cap to Nick Caserio, man. Day 2 of free agency, tip of the cap, Nick. This was the one you needed to make.
Great stuff. Johnny, I appreciate you jumping in, man.
Absolutely, brother.
Good stuff from Johnny. You want to get in like him, the link at the top of the chat is how you can get in, audio or video. You get in on the super chats as well. Dave Jones, the Joe Mixon signing for the Texans is a big plus. Yeah, look, the day started with Mixon and ended with Danielle Hunter, and that's 2 things the Texans needed. They needed somebody opposite Will Anderson. They needed a running back 1. They got both of them. Dave, I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. You're very generous. You want to jump to the front of the line? You certainly can with the super chats. David, one of my favorite slogans: can't lose a shutout. You can't lose a shutout. Okay. Now, so Peter Schrager, I'm not going to take a ton of credit for this because Peter Schrager's bringing up a great point here. Let's pull the tweet up here. So I like this comment from Peter Schrager. Makes a lot of sense. Again, culture. Didn't seem like the Texans had a lot of fun playing for their head coach last year. Their OC, DC, and special teams coordinator had a ton of juice. That's real. In a matter of 1 season, Houston's gone from an also-ran to a free agent destination. And yes, D'Amico's that guy. Not only that, but Bobby Slowick stays with the Houston Texans despite getting head coaching opportunities. Now, that maybe he didn't have the job offer or whatever, but Bobby Slowick sticks around. So he stays on the offensive side. Gerard Johnson at the quarterback spot, he stays around. Obviously, the head coach calls the defense, but Matt Burke stays around to help out. That's a guy that they're familiar with in the building. They kept a lot of the coaches, upgraded some other coaches in some spots, and then they went in here and they needed the 2 things that before free agency, I did a video on this, I wrote about this. The 2 things they had to do was they had to invest in the running back spot and they had to keep the engine running smooth, the engine of the defense, which is the defensive line. And that is exactly what they did. Now, it's maybe not the running back all of us thought they were going to get, but they got a running back who is a better football player than the guy that played the majority of the snaps at running back last year, and they upgraded this defensive line. This is a big-time player opposite Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. And we went through the stats there with Johnny, but heck, I'll pull it up on the screen here. This is Danielle Hunter in his seasons here. Last 3 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings. 7 games played, 6 sacks. 2 seasons ago. 17 games played, 10.5 sacks, 12 tackles for a loss, comeback player of the year votes, and a Pro Bowl. And then this past season, 2 passes deflected, 4 forced fumbles, 16.5 sacks, 23 tackles for a loss, tied for the league lead, and a Pro Bowl nod for him as well. Just an absolute monster of a player. And now he, along with Will Anderson, along with Nico Autry and Malik Collins and Khalil Davis and the guy from the Jaguars whose name I haven't learned yet, and all what an engine that the Texans have now at that defensive line spot. And I keep going back. I think it was the 22nd of January. It was the final. It was the final little bit of. It was the final press conference before the offseason kind of started after the Ravens game. And DeMeco Ryans was asked, his final question that he answered was, he was asked about how important is it to continue to grow and improve up front on defense. This is his exact quote. The front, again, is everything for me, and we'll invest a ton of resources into the front. If you want to play good defense, your front has to be elite, and that's what I envision us playing, elite defensive football. And we have to get better there. And to get better there, you have to invest the resources there up front. So that's what we'll do. That's where our focus is heading into this offseason, is to make sure our front gives us an opportunity to win some games. Mission accomplished, Coach. Mission accomplished. Danico Autry was a solid signing. Danielle Hunter, home run. Absolute home run. This is why you have the cap space to make a move like this. Yes, it's super expensive. $24 million guaranteed over the next couple of seasons is an incredible amount of money. But if this guy is going to be near the top of the league in tackles for a loss, going to be near the top of the league for sacks, he's worth every single penny, and he'll earn that additional $3 million, which has a max value against the contract of $51 million. So worth every single freaking penny. And again, this is why you have cap space to do things like this. The super chats. Marky Mark. Cody, you have to wear a vest in honor of Nick now. I will find a vest and I will wear a vest. I will find me a vest, even though I don't support the physics of a vest. I'll find a vest and wear a vest on stream before the season gets started. I gotta find one. The big fellas don't always have the vest. I'll get me a vest. I'm not getting a Nick Caserio vest, but I'll get me a vest. Marky Mark, I appreciate the super chat there. I've known Tony for a long time. Tony Garza, Super Bowl. Man, it kind of feels that way, doesn't it? Done the vibe here. Year 2 of CJ Stroud. This is exactly what the Cincinnati Bengals did, by the way. This is exactly what the Cincinnati Bengals did when they went to the Super Bowl. It was year 2 with Joe Burrow. Burrow didn't have the same type of season that CJ Stroud did. His first year, he was banged up, whatever. They got into the offseason, spent a bunch of money in free agency, and boom, they were right there in the conversation in the AFC. That's exactly what happened to the Cincinnati Bengals a couple of years ago. And that's kind of what you're hoping to be each and every year when you're really bad. It's like, okay, find the quarterback. He's special. He's a unique individual. And then go in there and play for a Super Bowl. Well, that's what the Bengals did. And they went and spent, I'm trying to remember exactly who all the free agents were that they went and signed, but they went and spent a bunch of money. And that's a team that usually didn't spend a lot of money. Now they had some young guys at wide receiver and stuff like that play, out of their mind, above above what the expectation was. But yeah, that's I think it was the 2021 offseason. Hold on, let me find it here. Yeah, so it was the 2021 offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm glad Tony said this, because I felt it, but I wanted somebody else to say it first. It feels very Super Bowl-ish. Okay, this is Burrow's second season. After the COVID season, after he was banged up, only played 10 games, he came back and was a monster. Well, we already know CJ Stroud's a monster. And then the Bengals went out. They spent $60 million on Trey Hendrickson. They spent $45 million on Carl Lawson. They spent $40 million on William Jackson. They spent $24 million on Mike Hilton, $21.5 million on Chidobe Awuzie. And then they filled in a bunch of other spots on the team. Obviously, they drafted really well that year. They went out and got the other wide receiver that they needed. The Texans, worth noting, already have 2 wide receivers. And it feels very Super Bowl-esque. Like, this is a Super Bowl contending organization in year 2 of CJ Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. That's where they are. They're contending for a Super Bowl. Tony, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. I've known you for a long time, and it's cool to talk some ball with you. But this is a Super Bowl contending organization now. This is a team that is a total threat to everybody in the AFC, including the defending AFC champion and defending world champion Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team that is absolutely a threat. When you think about what they can do on defense, the linebackers got better. If Derek Stingley is healthy for a whole season, if the safeties can get more consistent and stay healthy, this is a nasty defense. And we haven't even talked about the offense yet, which got better at running back, should have a healthy offensive line, and has the ability with the 23rd pick or the second round pick that they have or the third round pick that they have to improve this offense in one of the deeper wide receiver classes that we have seen. They are Super Bowl contenders. That's what this type of move does. This is the echelon this puts the Houston Texans into. Super Bowl contending level of organization. It's a great job by Nick Caserio. Great job. And they get new uniforms. And they get new uniforms. Man, ain't that fun? Ain't that fun? Trap squad. Who gets the first pick, offense or defense? Best player available. You know, maybe you need to feel like you go defensive tackle if a guy's there. You know, if they draft Byron Murphy, I'll put this out here. If they draft Byron Murphy from Texas, I'll make a $100 wager on them to win the Super Bowl, and if we win, I'll throw a party with the money. I truly believe Byron Murphy with this defensive line group would be one of the guys that could take that defense to just a little bit higher level. If they draft Byron Murphy at 23 overall, I'll put a $100 wager on the Texans to win the Super Bowl, and then with the money, I'll throw a party for everybody on YouTube. We'll go have it someplace here in Houston. I'll give you guys a heads up, and you guys can come out. Man, so many options. They get Quinyon Mitchell, or they get one of these corners. And look, you spent money, and yeah, you need some of those draft picks. If the right guy is sitting there at 20, if the right guy's sitting there at 19, 18, you've got 2 fourth-round picks. You've obviously got the selections next year. Go grab that guy. If you feel like you're one guy away, go grab that guy. Go find that guy. Trap Squad, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. BG with the super chat. 1,000 people in here. Get those likes up, folks. Yeah, throw the thumbs up. Go down to the thumbs up, hit the like button on that one. I appreciate you tuning in. BG, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Nino asks, let's talk salary cap. What's next? Dollar store? I mean, let me see here. Maybe another linebacker, like a veteran, somebody from a depth perspective. Maybe they'll go defensive tackle. Maybe they'll go defensive tackle if they want to get just, another body in there. But they've got some options between the guy they signed from the Jags, Heinisch, Khalil Davis. Like, if they had to start one of those guys, they could start one of those guys. I mean, if they really want to just pour it on Dream Team style, Justin Simmons is probably too expensive for them now. But Justin Simmons is a guy that would be awesome. I mean, he'd be a starter at safety for you, create some even better depth for this team at safety. Man, I knew that they were talking to him. Aaron Wilson reported that. I did not expect this to occur because I didn't know if Danielle Hunter was exactly the type of end that the D'Amico Ryans wanted. I didn't know if, hey, his style, this, that. But I did say, if you watch the video from this morning, I did the 4 big takeaways, and we were all upset about the running back spot. And then they made some pretty nice signings. And then it was, hey, they let Greenard and they let Blake Cashman walk. But my 4th thing on the big takeaways was, if you're unhappy with day 1, there's plenty of time to figure this thing out. There's plenty of time to figure this thing out and make you happy on day 2. Here we are. Second live stream of the day. Over 1,000 people. We're talking about Danielle freaking Hunter being on the Houston Texans and making them one of the nastiest defenses in football and putting them in the conversation as a Super Bowl contender. That's what we're talking about. 24 hours ago, I don't even know if Azeez Al-Shire had been signed yet. But 24 hours ago, people thought the Texans took a step back. 24 hours later, they are firmly in the Super Bowl contender discussion. I love this nickname, by the way. That's incredible. The Morton Ranch Monster. Of course, Danielle Hunter from the Houston area went to Morton Ranch. Jamaican born, by the way. Got to be the best Jamaican football player ever, right? Got to be the best Jamaican football player born ever, ever born, right? LSU. So Morton Ranch, LSU, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Houston Texans. That's Danielle Hunter's football journey. Man. Whew. Got to fan myself. I got the air going, but got to fan myself. This is just, I really didn't think they were going to do this. I thought surely somebody would outbid the Houston Texans. They'd get in there. They'd put the offer on the table. It'd be, around there. And then somebody comes in with the more money, like a way bigger contract, and he just can't say no. But no, they got out there. They paid a crap ton of money. Like $48 million guaranteed is nothing to sneeze at. Okay, $51 million for an average annual value of what, 25.2? Or 25 and a half, 25.5. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That's big time money. Okay. And to put that on the table after you've spent a little bit of money already, I mean, it's a great job. It's a great job by Nick Caserio. It's a great job by the Houston Texans. Okay. So $25.5 million. Number one is Baby Bosa, Chris Jones, Aaron Donald. Those guys are the top three. Burns now is number 4. TJ Watt's number 5. Christian Wilkins is 6. Joey Bosa 7. And the max value, so 51 chopped in half for an average annual value of 25.5. That makes him the 7th highest paid defensive player or defensive lineman, in football. More per year, if he hits max value, more per year than Myles Garrett. So it's a big investment. Now, Ian Rappaport, as somebody's talked about, and I haven't seen the video, and I can't play the video here on YouTube because that's NFL Network copyrighted, but Ian Rappaport said other teams were offering more. I mean, H-Town got that's everybody doing these days? H-Town taking care of business, man. Taking care of business. Again, a small thing that I think is just hilarious about the situation that the Texans are in. They're in there, I'm assuming working from NRG Stadium. The rodeo is happening outside. Like literally, you probably have people, like you have mutton busting, you have the carnival, you have a livestock show, you have auctions for animals, and Nick Caserio's over here like, yeah, let's get $51 million on the table and get one of the best pass rushers in football, and let's put him opposite Will Anderson. Can Nick Caserio go cheat on his diet now to celebrate? Can he go outside and get a chocolate-covered bacon caramel cheesecake, which I ate the other day at the rodeo? Can he get one of those? Man. Oh, boys. Oh, Diana Rossini. Justin Simmons is going to the Tennessee Titans. Dang it. That's all right. That's all right. The Texans got Danielle Hunter. The Texans got Danielle Hunter. It's okay. It's okay. The rodeo inspired him to cook. Yes, it did. He didn't just cook. He deep fried free agency. This is deep fried free agency from Nick Caserio. You know what I'm going to do when I'm done with this? When I'm done with the live, I'm going to get on Canva. I'm going to make Nick Caserio one of those little hats that the funnel cake people will put his face on one of the funnel cake people, and we're going to go deep fried free agency. We'll have a little funny thing making the rounds on social media. Nick deserves them fried Oreos. He needs to go get himself a Trill Burger. Exactly. Yes, Simmons going to the Titans stinks. I thought Simmons would be tired of losing. You know what he's not tired of? Making lots of money, which I'm assuming the Titans are spending to get Justin Simmons. I'm not worried about the Titans. They suck. Okay? They suck. They spent a little bit of money on their offensive line. They still suck. I'm not worried about the Titans. They don't worry me at all. Nobody in the division worries me. The Texans are the best team in the division. They're better than the Jaguars. They've got a better quarterback. They've got a better defensive line. They've got a better offense. So they're better than the Jaguars. They're better than the Colts. Anthony Richardson, totally unknown at the quarterback spot. They've got a defensive line now that's as good, better than the Colts. The Colts have a good defensive line, but the Texans defense overall, put it all together, better. Better quarterback, proven quarterback. Nobody in the division worries me if I'm the Texans. Nobody in the division worries me. Jay Deuce, he hasn't signed yet with Tennessee. Yeah, it's headed that way, I think. It's headed that way. All right, so what's kind of left out there for the Texans? What do they need to throw together? What do they need to put together here? So you don't currently have a starter at defensive tackle next to Malik Collins. You could start Khalil Davis. You could start Danico Autry there, who's played a little defensive tackle. You could start Kurt Heinisch there, who had a couple of moments. But that's something to pay attention to and watch as far as putting a starter next to Malik Collins. So at defensive tackle. So defensive tackle is the first thing I'd look for. They've got Stingley and Okuda's your other corner. Desmond King's your third corner. Maybe a corner from a depth standpoint. Just somebody that they like. I'd actually kind of like a backup nickel, so a backup slot cornerback. So something like that, if they could get that done, if there's a guy out there that fits that mold. Linebacker, you got 4 linebackers on the roster right now. Azeez Al-Shire and Christian Harris, those are your 2 starters, so to speak. Henry To'oTo'o and Jake Hansen are on the roster. So you need some more linebackers. And then safety, you can add some names to safety. Simmons is the last safety that I probably would have been super pumped about from free agency. But Petrie and Ward are the starters. Murray and Stewart are the backups, and that's how they did it last year. So, maybe a name or a body behind those guys. But defense, you're looking at starter at defensive tackle, depth at corner, depth at linebacker. And then you flip it over to offense. I'd love another running back, one more to go with Mixon and Dameon Pierce, and then maybe add one in the draft, so that would be your 4 running backs. So, in free agency, maybe one more vet running back, someone who's maybe just a fast guy who can catch, or someone who's just a hammer, because Mixon's a little mix of both of it. Wide receiver, wide receiver 3 right now is basically Noah Brown. If you could get somebody that pushes him down the depth chart, make Noah Brown the 4th or the 5th best wide receiver on this team, certainly a conversation from that standpoint that you would have. If you could get a vet tight end that pushes Tegan Quintiriano a little bit on the back end of the roster, maybe a vet that pushes him, that's one way to approach it, the tight end spot. And then, offensive line, they've got the options. Your left tackle, your right guard set. One of your interior spots at left guard or center, that's set with Juice Scruggs. Jarrett Patterson is a factor. Kenyon Green is a factor. Kendrick Green is a factor. So you got a couple of different ways that you can go about that. Devin, I apologize. I didn't see this a second ago. Stoots, what a roller coaster ride Nick done put us through the last 2 days. Boy, he got the best roller coaster in the NRG area is the Texans free agency roller coaster. It's better than anything the Carnival's got. That was a fun ride, That was a fun ride. It's a good one. Devin, I appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Chris Jenkins in the second? Maybe. All right, I want to get P Nasty in here. You were optimistic yesterday, much more optimistic than anybody else.
Yeah.
And And the optimism paid off.
Yeah, for sure, Cody, man. Thanks again. Lots of love from out here. Everybody's just been a great offseason having you cover this. And this is just a new chapter as being a Texan fan. But, hat tip to Nick Caserio. You look, is Joe Mixon better than Devin Singletary? I think everybody says, yeah, a little bit. And then you look at the terms. We gave up a 7th round pick, and I think it's $2 million we're going to pay him. It's a $2 million rental. So, hat tip to not getting in the, chasing the train, chasing the dragon of all these big signings. And then, look at our front 7 now. I think we got 4, maybe 5 studs on there. And this just really gives us the ability to take best player available. And, let's think about this, further a little bit down the road, start building our reputation up like the Patriots did when they were a dynasty. They always got the best players for cheap because they knew they were going to win. And we start building this reputation that we're not going to pay super max deals, for just anybody. But I was a little surprised, like at the Danielle Hunter pick. I'm a fan of it, but it's only 2 years, so it doesn't interfere us with paying CJ. It doesn't interfere with us paying Will, and a little bit of patience, guys. Maybe Nick and D'Amico know what they're actually doing. We got adults driving. Can you imagine these terms if Bill O'Brien had this much cap space? I mean, $20 million on a punter, and he kicks the ball really hard, and I'm glad we got grown-ups driving. And thanks so much, Cody, from the bottom of my heart for being a Texan fan for so long. Like it's a new chapter for us consuming media. So thanks so much.
P Nasty, I appreciate you, man. The kind words are very much appreciated. It's fun, man. It's fun covering this team. And they are. All right, I'll tell you the story here. I'll tell you the little story. I'm at the combine, and I was talking with someone in the NFL about the Texans, and they said they've done a good job of making things exciting over there. I'm not gonna tell you who the person is, but it's somebody important. They've done a good job making things exciting. So yeah, that's without a doubt. And they said, I think they're going to keep things exciting. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I wondered if he thought that perhaps they were going to, be good again because of CJ and Will Anderson and Tank and Nico and things like that. I wonder if that person knew something like this was coming. Something like this was coming. So that person that I talked with at the combine for a few moments felt like they knew something like this was coming and they might have had a hand in it. Man, that's woo. What a day. What a day. And as somebody mentioned, as the chat's mentioned a couple of different times, you are not shoehorned into any certain draft pick. As Dylan says here on the super chat, thank you for the super chat, Dylan. Cornerback round 1, wide receiver round 2, running back later in the draft. Sure, sign me up. You want to go D lineman and corner? You want to go corner, running back? You want to go wide receiver, corner? You can go a lot of different ways. How do you feel about adding Xavier and Howard? Probably not going to get added to this team. Just because you've got the investment in Okudah, and Desmond King can play a little bit outside. I would think Howard wants to start. Not out of the question. If he comes in, he wants to play ball. Not out of the question. But, oh, man. Touch a Trent with the super chat, man. Thank you so much, man. That is very generous. It's very generous. It's very kind. Thank you so much. You guys keep doing your thing. I would do the video for 10 viewers, but the fact that we got over 1,000 people in here, I mean, y'all make it so much fun and so easy to do this. This is very generous, Trent. Thank you so much. The super chats are incredible. Oh man, that's very nice. Thank you. Really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It makes doing what I do a lot easier when I have great supporters like you guys with the super chats, the incredibly generous super chats, the likes, the shares, the thumbs up, all that stuff. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. I can now afford to chip in on Danielle Hunter. Oh man. Yeah, Sean G. Okuda's an unproven commodity. Getting Howard at his depth and can compete for a starting spot. I think that's where the cornerback draft pick comes in. I think where spending a draft pick on a cornerback makes a lot of sense to push Okuda and maybe have it take over for him by the end of the year. Vincent said, Cody, there was a Mexican place kind of like Chipotle you recommended, I think, a couple of months ago. What was the name of that again? That was Cabo Bob's. Cabo Bob's. They have a ton of Houston area locations. They're also in the greater Dallas area, or the greater Austin area in San Antonio. But yeah, my friends at Cabo Bob's do a great job. They've got burritos, tacos, bowls, quesadillas, salads, nachos, and so much more. Ton of locations. The food is great. And they make the tortilla right there in front of you. I get the smoky cheddar tortilla a lot of times. They got a bunch of different tortillas, a bunch of different meat options. They do a great job. I really appreciate Cabo Bob's when they were hanging out with us, and you should check out Cabo Bob's. You should check out Cabo Bob's. All right, we got anything else popping up here? Any other breaking news things? Man. Yeah, man. Trent, thank you again so much, man. That was very generous. I appreciate that. Max contract, I think, of $2.5 million is what Aaron Wilson said. Max at 2.5. J.K. Dobbins is the third option at running back. Yes, not going to be expensive. The injuries have sort of ruined his value. Brian Thomas or A.D. Mitchell at 23. Yeah, sure. It gives you some durability insurance with Tank and Nico's injury history, and then gives you a big-time talent. Thomas can play inside and outside. Mitchell's probably just an outside guy. I don't know how that matters that much to him. I don't know if you strictly focus on inside-outside guys if you're the Texans. You could stick Mitchell out there and have him go be a baller. Steve Smith's favorite wide receiver in this draft, by the way. Soccer Timmy, Cody, you're the best. Met you on the Wheelhouse. I've been following you ever since. Man, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. Sid, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you jumping in on the super chat. It's very generous. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you got a comment, please fire away. I must pandaline. I'm not saying something dirty when I say that, am I? Anyway, Panda. Think we go for corner unless the top guys are gone? Sure, at corner. Byron Murphy, Quinyon Mitchell. Byron Murphy's defensive tackle, but you want to go defensive tackle, you want to go corner. It's Quinyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. Enos Rakestraw from Missouri. Kool-Aid McKinstry from Bama. I love you too, Mickey. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. John, appreciate you. Hey, get out of here with the hate. Yeah, Sean knows about Cabo Bob's. He's been there. Cabo Bob's take care of you. Yeah, thank you one more time, Trent. I appreciate that. Sid had the super chat. We need a stud DT cornerback. Yeah, draft is probably where you can find one of those two. Byron Murphy falls to this team. Then there's your stud DT. Quinyon Mitchell falls to this team at cornerback. There's your stud cornerback. Stoots, what a great pickup by Nick. Man, Caserio crushed it, man. Caserio crushed it. Did a incredible job getting Danielle Hunter done, added to this free agency class. Did an incredible job. Cody McLean. Not quite yet. John's a legend. I thought about, popping in with John here on one of the videos. Wouldn't that be fun? Talk with the McLeaner a little bit. Wouldn't that be a fun one? KB, hit the like button. And then he throws it up this way, which I'm not going to do because that's the Longhorn thing. But, the H-Town thing that people have been doing, that's a good one. Hit the like button. Yeah, thank you. Hit the like button. More love for Cabo Bobs. Malachi Corley, the Yak King. The Yak King is what Steve Smith calls him. He can make it happen. What do you think the chances are Nick trades down? High. High chance to trade down. And here's why I say that. I believe the best value in this draft is between 20 and 60. There's a lot of really good players that are right there that are, in the 20 to 60 range. And if you could move back and get an additional day 2 pick, if you're the Texans, that would be a really, really nice piece to then move around in the second round. Caserio's traded up for his day 2 guys 5 out of the 7 times, I believe. So Nico Collins was a trade up on the second day. Juice Scruggs was a trade up. Tank Dell was a trade up. Christian Harris was a trade up. John Mechie was a trade up. So he loves moving around on day 2. Loves moving around. Well, to move around on day 2, he needs some ammunition. Well, he gets a little ammunition by moving back from 23. I wouldn't move out of the first round because having that 5th-year option is so important to the management of that contract if that player is good. I wouldn't move out of the first round unless somebody's sending a ransom. H-Town's Ultimate, good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Do you like Xavier Worthy from Texas in the first round? I don't. I like him in the second round, but I don't like him in the first round. Rick is a loyal Houston football subscriber and commenter. Do you see the Texans keeping Sheldon Rankins, him taking a deal to stay? I would think someone's going to pay Rankins roughly exactly what he got paid last year to switch teams. He's a guy that can fill in a second wave, third wave type of guy. Sorry, my brain got stuck there for a second. Kool-Aid McKinstry would be amazing. Yes, he would be. Scott A's got the super chat. Thank you, Scott A, for the super chat. Once Queen was gone, I was really hoping for Hunter, and Caserio came through, hoping we can also bring back Reader. Readers are leaders. Is that DJ Reader a leader? Well, he certainly did well for the Cincinnati Bengals when he was up there. Did a good job for them. Reader would be nice. I don't know what he's asking. I don't know what the price is on some of these guys. As free agency goes along, guys get cheaper. You saw Hunter get cheaper. Big time defensive end ought to cost a little bit more than what the Texans ended up paying for him. So he got a little bit cheaper. Not real cheap, but he got a little bit cheaper. Scott A, appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you. What does Cody Day 2 say to Cody Day 1, who was upset as we all were? Well, okay, I'm not going to cop out and act like I wasn't upset. I was bummed about Saquon. I didn't see the vision for running back, okay? I didn't see how they were getting a running back. They snagged the running back this morning. They got Danielle Hunter to cap the day off. That's awesome. That's awesome. Can't say much more about this free agency. Upgraded the defensive end spot, upgraded the top backup on the defensive line spot, upgraded at linebacker, added some special teams guys, stayed the same at punter. I would tell Day 1 Cody that he needs to be patient more often than not. I said it on Twitter, and I mean it. I will not be doubting Nick Caserio. I mean, I'll be firmly in the let Caserio cook camp from now on. Like, a lot of us were upset, and as I'll say it again, I still think it's funny. He was robbed of Executive of the Year. You get to free agency. People are furious after day 1. People are texting me and messaging me and writing in the comment section, fire Nick Caserio. And now he's coming for that Executive of the Year award that they robbed him of last year. And it's awesome. It's awesome. He's done a great job. Texans fans in Jersey are happy. Yep. Well, is the Lock Dogs live over there? All right, the Lock Dogs live over there. Check out Landry's when we wrap up here. Cody, do you like Worthy in the first round? I think I answered that one. No, I don't like him. I like him in the second round. Second and third round talent this year is really good. Yeah, you could go a lot of different ways, get a lot of really good players in the second and third round. A lot of really good players. Cody, get the Texans fan from Jersey on. Bet he's going crazy in the cop car. I texted Dom from New Jersey. I texted him, and I just said, holy smokes, dude. And he said, Cody, I'm freaking out. And I think he's at work. So I think he's at work. So somebody might get away with a little crime because he's celebrating a Danielle Hunter. Possible to rework a contract for more space? Yeah, certainly. Certainly. Yeah, you can certainly rework a contract. You can move on from Robert Woods, save you a couple bucks. Let me go pop over to Spot Rack and see. You can restructure, stuff. I don't know if they want to totally do all that, but you can play around with let me see here. Let me pull up the Spot Rack play with the roster thing. If you release Robert Woods, you save $5 million. You jump the cap space up a few million bucks. That's really the only guy that you'd be like, see you later, alligator. I guess if you moved Davis Mills, but he's a nice backup. I don't think they want to do that. That's about it. There's really not a lot of maneuverability. A Mills release saves you a few million bucks, but you really want to move on from a backup that you like. You're going to have Tim Boyle be the backup? Nah, I don't think so. So not a ton of maneuverability. Sean, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. So here's I'll wrap this up because I want you guys to go check out Landry's stream. I want everybody to jump over to Landry's stream here in just a second. Watch for safety help. Either a guy that can be the key backup, can play right away, or maybe supplant one of those starters. So watch for safety. Watch for depth at cornerback, maybe one more linebacker, and then still trying to figure out who that defensive tackle is. And exactly who that guy is going to be. So that's what I'm looking for on defense. Maybe another running back over on offense, and maybe a tight end, an old guy to push Tegan Quateriano at the bottom of the depth chart there. So, all right. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. If you want to talk about Danielle Hunter, I'm putting it in I'm putting it in the chat right now. That's Landry Locker's live stream. Go over to Landry's. I'm going to go jump in there right now in the chat and hang out. Run over to Landry's. We'll keep this Texans vibe and this stuff going. And just know the addition of Danielle Hunter, this free agency, and the impending draft, the Houston Texans are Super Bowl contenders. They are Super Bowl contenders. They are firmly in the conversation. And it's freaking awesome to talk about. So we end the live streams the same way we always end the live streams. I want you to eat good, sleep good, be good. And I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon. And we're going to go talk Texans over in Landry Locker's stream, which is in the chat. Go check him out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you. It's awesome. We're having a blast. So much more fun coming this offseason. We haven't hit the draft yet. It's going to be great. Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thank you.